I think Zion is much less likely to play
He, he looks
65
great.
games.
He
He
looks
looks
great.
he looks phenomenal, and historically, his body is made of is held together by duct tape.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership where coaching wisdom meets real talk. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, segment one, we're going to talk about teams whose season is over before it started in the NBA. In segment two, we're going to talk about double standards, possibly in terms of family hiring with the Auburn situation. We also will discuss the G League player deemed college eligible. That's a new one. And in segment three, WNBA playoffs, we've got concerns about officiating. So we got Robert here today. So with us today, our favorite administrator, Robert Abney, has joined us, and our international correspondent, Coach FD. Robert, NBA, which team's season goals are just over before it even starts? Just pick whoever you want to talk about because the injury bug has bitten before we've done one thing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me as to why so many people are injured right now. I mean, we're just getting into camp and all of a sudden all these guys, theoretically at least, they've been working out all off season, right? So they should be in shape. Um, I would say that the Sixers, the Sixers, their season is done because if you can't say for sure this is when Joel Embiid will be back and this is when Paul George will be back, if you have no idea what that is, then I don't know what you're hoping for. I mean, Embiid only played 19 games last year anyway, and Paul George played 41 games, and you're hoping for these two guys to come back. It's not looking good. And then you have your first round pick from last year, um, tore his UCL, in his thumb. So he's probably going to be out a while. You still haven't figured out what you're doing with Quentin Grimes. It pack it in,
That's a
pack it in.
lot.
You're
That's a
done.
lot. All right, FD, you look at the NBA through an international lens, which we love. Is there a team from the NBA you're looking at saying, you're going to play your 82 games, but that's about it? What do you think, sir?
Yeah, definitely I agree with Robert. Sixers, there is no vision. You cannot know what they're gonna do because when you have your two superstars, you don't know when they are coming back. It's very difficult to have a program to know what you're gonna do this season. But I'm very also thinking about the Houston Rockets. Okay, they're gonna be in the playoff. They have Kevin Durant, they have Alfred Sengun, but when you decide to trade the Darren Green and to Dylan Brooks and to add Kevin Durant on your team. You don't play less than the championship. And when you at the start of the season you lose Fred VanVleet, and Kevin Durant is not again a young man, he's an older man. So he's not going to play 82 games. You don't know how he's going to fit in this season in this new team. And you say, okay, you did the trade, but okay, this season is not going to look that we were thinking when we were adding Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Houston has championship aspirations, and losing a glue guy, yeah, that's not going to help with that. Before I jump in, Robert, any thoughts about Houston's championship or bust season getting busted before the championship?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't have Fred Van Vliet, I don't think that. I mean, they'll still make the playoffs because they're still pretty deep.
Hmm.
But I think he makes the difference for them.
Yeah, the team I'm looking at is Memphis. The West is tough. It's already tough, and they have lost one with the coaching situation. I don't know what's going on with that. You already have John Morant being a distraction, and we don't like distractions as it is, but they got Brandon Clark out. They got Zach Edey out. They got Cedric Caldwell, the 11th overall pick. He's coming to be a full participant in camp, but he's been rehabbing his left shoulder all summer. So the West is already challenging. And you're coming into the season with just pieces like out of ordinary. And if it's the East, you can kind of get away with some stuff, but in the West, man, it's just way too tough. Everybody's better. So I'm looking forward to that. Last bit before we close, two guys are in better shape heading into the season, and that's Luka Doncic and that's Zion Williamson. Robert, will both of them eclipse the 65 game club this year, in your opinion?
Probably not, just because the NBA schedule you still have there are good reasons to have a DNP coach's decision, by some of these guys to give them a little bit of a rest. I think Zion is much less likely to play
He, he looks
65
great.
games.
He
He
looks
looks
great.
he looks phenomenal, and historically his body is made of is held together by duct tape.
Uh,
So something something is, I mean, maybe it really was the weight that was hindering him. Maybe he really had not spent time up until this year strengthening his body and putting himself in a position where he's in good shape and his body can withstand the rigors of an entire season. Maybe that's the case. But historically, that's not what has happened with him.
uh,
He plays for a month and then something
something.
happens, something, and then he's out. And we'll see.
All right, Coach. You're in season. You're doing your thing. Luca, who you've watched his entire career, and Zion, they're both in phenomenal preseason conditioning. Any thoughts on them joining the 65 game club? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely, yes. But when I think about Luca, and I'm a big Luca fan, but I love Luca when he was 17 years old. And now at this age, he can be in good shape, but I need him to be in good shape in his mind. Now be ready to say, okay, I have to be in good shape and play defense, be more a team player. And I think he can be in good shape, but the difference will be, I hope he will be in healthy minds because this is more important thing for I think for him because he's a phenomenal player. And for Zion, I'm very scared because when you lose a lot of weight, it's a big change. And I'm very scared because you can have some problem with injury. So yeah, both of them look very great. I think that they could have both of them a very good season and play more than 65 games. But we should see how the body fit now in this in how they fit in their body.
Yeah, last thing for me on this. Why did it have to take public shaming and humiliation to get you into shape? That just kind of goes to maybe you just did take it as serious as you want to, and Father Time is undefeated and untied, and soft tissue injuries are a real thing. So
Well,
with
and
that, go ahead.
here's something interesting. I mean, something else to think about. Zion's game when he's healthy, a lot of that has been based on him just being bigger and stronger than everybody
Yeah,
else. Is he still stronger than everybody else? Because he's definitely not bigger than everybody else.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
not at all. All right, so fans, when we get back, college coaching news, change in Auburn. We're going to have that discussion. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. Gotta mention the transition from Bruce Pearl at Auburn to his son Stephen Pearl getting a head job, and what I perceive as possibly a double standard. So Bruce Pearl stepped down as Auburn's head coach. He's 65. He's going to move into an ambassador role in the athletic department as a special assistant. His son Stephen, who was the associate head coach, received a 5-year contract to be the program's new head coach. Stephen played at Tennessee for 4 years. He was assistant strength and conditioning coach at Auburn. He was the director of basketball operations, the Debo, as we like to say in the business. Then he was an assistant coach at Auburn under his father, Bruce. He was then the associate head coach at Auburn under his father, Bruce. And now he is the present head coach. Some of his duties, for those who are in the coaching business, want to know, on the bench included opponent scouting, defensive strategies and adjustments, as well as in-game play calling. He also played a huge role in developing Auburn's big men to go along with being a fervent recruiter. He's also taken the lead in terms of the transfer portal. And in April of 2022, he participated in the National Association of Basketball Coaches and Athletic Directors U invitation only. Of course, he had an invitation to the College Coaches Consortium at the Final Four. A lot of professional development with the NABC. Part of that professional development is my relationship with Coach FD. So again, I'm just curious at the swiftness of his ascension to the head coaching position. So, Robert, we were in the group chat, and I was a little animated about. I'm just, again, Auburn has every right to do whatever, but any thoughts on the transition from Bruce Pearl to Stephen Pearl?
Well, I think first of all, given the time of year, who are you going to get? Number one, if Bruce Pearl leaves now, who are you going to get to replace him given the time of year? So
With that, I agree with you, sir. And I'm thinking they're going to tag him as the intern for this year and then do a national search, air quotes, and then come to the conclusion that they're going to give that guy a job based on whatever. They just jumped off and said 5 years. So
I agree.
That's
yeah.
And I'm glad I got my administrator here because, hey, we're administrators. We've had principals leave late to give their assistant the opportunity to get the job and say good luck. We've had Tony Bennett leave late. Hey, Dean Smith took care of Bill Guthridge. So this is not new. Slapping him with a 5-year deal off the top, man, that gave me pause, as we say sometimes in the business. I'm sorry about that.
I agree with that. But when you think about coaching contracts, what are they? They're generally 4 or 5 years because the idea is that when you recruit somebody, part of the recruiting speak is when other coaches speak out against a school, you don't know if he's going to be there. Well, he's got a 5-year deal, says he's going to be there. If he was in charge of the, defense and some of the play calling, that doesn't give me any reassurance personally because I was never a fan of Bruce Pearl's game management skills. And if you're learning those skills from your dad, I mean, I hope you're better at it than he was. Because, I think more than once Bruce Pearl has had teams that were more talented than their opponents in the tournament, and they lost games because their end of game
Management.
management was poor. And you know, and that happens to everybody, but it seemed to happen to Bruce Pearl a lot more than it happened to other guys. So I I don't necessarily like it. I think you're giving a guy a job without a whole lot of knowledge of what he can actually do. Uh, but given the time of year, I at least understand it.
All right. Now, Francois, as somebody who is in the early stages of their career and they're hustling and grinding, I am sure you took a look at your resume and compared it to the new coach's resume. Any thoughts from you as somebody who is on the ascension of their coaching career?
Yeah, definitely. I hope I have it that's what's coaching too. It's more easy, but we cannot know because we are not in Auburn. We don't know. Maybe he's not. He don't show. We cannot see his talent, what he bring to the organization. So we just don't know why they decide to give him a 5-year job. Maybe it's the change is gonna be the man to do the job. We don't know, and I just think that at like Robert say, 5 year is normal, but when you give a 5-year deal, it's because really think the coach is gonna be the one doing this job for a long time. And I can just wish him good luck and wish him to be successful. But right now we have no idea what he can do. We don't know, and that's difficult to have an answer. But Auburn, I hope the team management, they know what they're doing, and they have an idea where they're going. And I think they would not do this deal if they didn't know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a heck of a head start.
and I know you know this, but it's way different sitting down looking like this
Yeah.
than it is looking like this and looking down.
Yes.
That's
That
that's a much different view.
Definitely.
longest 19 inches you'll ever see in your life. And that's one seat over. All right, to close this segment, didn't see this coming, but I understand. The NCAA has ruled that former G League Ignite player Thierry Darlan eligible to play Division I basketball at Santa Clara. His agent told media reports. The fact that I just said that in a sentence, it's like, wow. Okay. So Darlan becomes the first player to obtain NCAA eligibility after playing professionally in the G League, where he spent the past 2 seasons. He will enter college as a junior with 2 years of eligibility remaining. So he's 21. He hails from the Central African Republic. He was a graduate of the NBA Academy Africa program and played the 23-24 season with the G League Ignite, which was the high school slash college age team that they used prior to NIL. He's a 6'8" guard. He played in the G League as an unaffiliated player for the Delaware Bluecoats and Rip City Remix, and he averaged 10 and 6. And with the influx of international players coming and the de-emphasis of these external programs like the G League Ignite, somebody was going to question it. And when I saw it and then read about it and knowing that we covered it, I can kind of see what they were thinking. Francois, I'm going to go to you first. One, are you familiar with this young man and his talent? And then, any thoughts about him regaining eligibility in this unique situation?
Honestly, coach, I didn't follow him well, so I have no information about the player. But I think the way the NTA is going and the way now since some years paying player, they're giving money to player. And I think that it's normal that they decide to now open, even if you played some year in G League or in Europe, you can have opportunity to come back because it is better for the league, it is better for the player. He can go study, and maybe he's tried to play to the NBA. He was not as much talented to get to reach there. Now he come back to college. He can go and have his study. He can play, get more money. And I think, yeah, I'm not mad to know that they decide to adjust also the rules and to make sure that they can, because it's all about business, and they won't have the best player in the league. They're doing the whatever it takes to do that.
All right. Robert, I know we both paused when we saw the headline. What did you think as you dug a little bit deeper into the story?
Oh, I mean, as you look a little bit deeper into it, it makes sense. The guy, he's college age. Uh, he came from the NBA Africa Academy. We're getting a whole bunch of young men coming over from Europe who have been playing in, European, international pro players are coming to D1 rosters all across the country. It it fits. It fits. And let's be honest, probably made less money in the G League than he's going to get paid NIL at Santa Clara. So it's not a money thing anymore. I mean, it's this is where we are. That's all. That's it.
Yes.
This is where we are.
Perfect way to end this segment. That's why we have you here. So, fans, in segment 3, a lot of talk about officiating. So, who better to help us than Robert kind of sort this out? We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Today's student athletes face pro-level challenges without pro-level support. The CKA SAVE project is here to change that. For 16 plus years, Dr. Keith Adams and his team have provided comprehensive academic and athletic support from middle school through post-graduation transitions. NIL guidance, transfer portal navigation, academic coaching, career planning, they've got it covered. The CKA SAVE project. When your future is on the line, experience matters. Learn more at www.ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 3, WNBA playoff recap. And let's go ahead and get started. So, fans, we tape on Sundays. We're a magazine-style show. We cover the week before and try to preview the week ahead. And Minnesota, the number 1 seed, is down against the Phoenix Mercury, and a potential closeout game is on the day we tape. But Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve was suspended for 1 game due to her conduct and comments after Minnesota lost to Phoenix. Reeve will serve the suspension during game 4, and they're trailing 2-1, and they face elimination. So she was ejected in the final seconds of Friday's game when forward Nafisia Collier, left leg, made contact with Mercury's guard, Alyssa Thomas. Thomas went for the steal. And as I'm fond of saying has been said to me, just because you fall, that means foul. But what happened? Fine. Coach goes crazy, goes nuts. And the officiating in the WNBA playoffs has been questionable and questioned by others. Now, again, I have Robert here. He's going to clean up all of this. So you've got a situation where the coach goes crazy. I've been there. Assistants holding back the coach. Okay, I've been there. But there's a line that I have been taught not to cross. So I can defend my players. I can do all of these things. But then when you get your head nod, your look, or whatever that says enough, enough's enough. But we did allow you the parameters to do whatever. So now she's out. The Lynx are the number 1 seed. They lost their best player. She's not playing. And more likely than not, Phoenix will win and advance in the series to take on the Aces, who I think will close out the Fever. So no disrespect to the Aces and the Fever, but the Aces are going to probably win that. So I want to spend my time with Robert talking in his professional opinion about what happened. Robert, the floor is yours, sir. Talk to him.
Okay. So let's start with the play. The pick itself was clean. Alyssa Thomas went for the steal, got all ball. The pick was clean. coach's complaint is based on the fact that after the ball was tipped, their legs, their knees hit. Nafisha Collier turned her ankle and went down and, had to be helped off the floor. That's what she was mad about. And I'm going to tell you that that's not a foul. And it's not a foul because contact on the ball was clean. And that contact afterwards, that's incidental as Alyssa Thomas is going for the ball. I know that a lot of people on social media are like, oh, look at all that contact. Yes, there was contact. Contact is not a foul. Illegal contact is a foul. That contact was incidental. It wasn't illegal. Um, Regarding the officiating, I think that I do feel like the WNBA has an officiating issue. Um, and it's not the staff they have, because the officiating staff they have are NCAA Division One men's and women's officials. They probably have some folks who work the G League, on their staff. Um, they have folks who have spent a lot of time in international basketball. Um, so it's not the staff. The the staff calls what they are directed to call by the director of officiating. Director of officiating is going to say, I mean, they have the rule book, and then they're going to say, okay, these are the points of emphasis. These are the plays we want to make sure that we're calling. These are the plays that we want to make sure that we're not calling. And I think that's they need to do a better job with that, in my opinion, for sure. They need to do a better job of those points of emphasis, and they do need to have. I think they need to do a better job with consistency. Last but not least, and you already referenced this, there is an NBA officials social media page. There's a Twitter page, right? And all during the NBA season, they will respond to, kind of last 2 minutes report type stuff from NBA games. And they will say, that should have been called, that wasn't a foul, that kind of stuff. And they actually did that with this particular play in that game. So I mean, I saw that and I wasn't surprised. I didn't think anything of it. But you actually asked the question, do they do that all the time for the WNBA? I have no idea. If you're just doing that now for the first time, that's a bad look. If it's something that you've been doing all along, okay. I mean, then that's fine. But if you're just doing it now for the first time to defend this no call in this critical game, and it's the first time you've done that, that's a really bad look for the WNBA. And we've been around and around with what we think of the management of the WNBA. With Will, and Will's not here, which is unfortunate because I would love to hear what he has to say about this. But I mean, the play was a foul. The play wasn't a foul. The coach is mad. She's mad because Nafisha Collier had 5 fouls and she didn't shoot any free throws during the game. I didn't see the game, so I have no idea if it was a matter of she wasn't taking the ball to the rim. I have no idea. I don't know. But she was mad because they're in trouble. And I understand that. And you can't act that way on the sideline.
Yeah.
So,
all right. FD, you are an active coach. My days of being on the sideline are over, and my players could give you stories. What is your take on it? I know you peeked at the play. I know you have some thoughts as a coach. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, if I understand what your question is, what I think about the situation when you are in difficult with referee or you have a disagreement, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and I honestly I cannot understand it even I'm a young coach because it is a level, they are playing for the final, so the pressure is there. They want to win. It is very difficult. And normally, what I think is that you have to sometimes get composer, but sometimes, you have to go for a referee because sometimes, even if they don't want, because you're angry, you can change the mind of the referee. So I think she tried to push the referee to change, the mind. She go a little bit too far, and now she's not gonna be in the next game. And sometimes the team reaction is better when they are in this situation because you don't have your coach, you are down the tree, and you have to win. You have to, and I think that's what the coach did. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna push the referee. I'm gonna put me in a situation where I can be suspended, but maybe it will help my team to win the next game." And we should see what's happened now. It was a
Yeah.
good or bad decision.
And FD, I'm glad you said it that way because from my part, I won't hide. I was very loud and boisterous on the sidelines. I had a presence, but I also was the coach who attended the same meetings as the referees. So they saw I'm trying to study too.
Yeah.
And I had great referee mentors. Kevin McNutt, whose daughter Monica is all over ESPN, and I'm rooting like heck for her because I saw her grow up, was a mentor of mine. And he would say to me, "Young coach, you got a good post player, so pay attention to him. You can't pay attention to everything else. Hey, you got a good guard. You better pay attention to your guard and leave the inside. You can't call the whole game or else go put some stripes on and learn how to do this." So I thought Coach Reeves went way too far. This is not a good look. I thought the WNBA had no choice but to suspend her to have some credibility, which they have none, because their leadership has been a lot quiet. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff going on with the WNBA right now, and nobody seems to be in charge. And if this was David Stern, man, we would have a hammer and somebody's in charge with that. So hopefully in the off season, when cooler heads prevail and we're just trying to get better, we can address some of these things and put it in. But yeah, I don't think you can do this. Robert, I'm gonna leave you with the last thoughts before we close, sir.
Well, and just to kind of respond to what FD said, I mean, I I have my mind has never been changed by a coach losing his mind. Never. You know, there are coaches whom who will lose their minds at me, and because that's atypical behavior for them, then you have to think, okay, that there might be there's probably something there. But just losing your mind like that doesn't do anything. Already referenced the crew. All three of the officials on this game have worked WNBA finals games before. I mean, it's a veteran crew. It's and the thing I'll leave it with is this. Um, Officials miss calls.
Like,
Happens. It happens, right? And you the officials are expected to be perfect when they walk on the floor and get better from there. And that's an unrealistic expectation. It's an unrealistic expectation from the players because players miss layups, miss free throws, turn the ball over. It's basketball is a beautiful game, but it's an imperfect game. And that's just part of the imperfection, and you have to work your way through it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership, where coaching wisdom meets real talk. We're also seen on the Cascade Sports Network, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on the X platform at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Keith Adams and the CKA Save Project on social media at CKA Save Project. For more information about the CKA Save Project, visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.